Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel for this Tuesday morning, afternoon or evening across the world where you may be at. And today is the second day of the Autism Acceptance Week across the world. And today I thought I would talk about how I have adapted to my diagnosis 9 years on since being officially diagnosed. I thought this would be an interesting topic to talk about how I felt back then to how I feel now. And so let's get into it. Today, I feel I've adapted to my diagnosis 9 years on since officially being diagnosed. Let's take you all back to the beginning of 2014. I was just at the tender age of 25 when I just received my diagnosis. At first, I was very against it all. I didn't want to accept it. I didn't believe it was real. I was very rude to my parents. I cried a lot. I felt lonely and helpless. It was a big shock to my system to adjust to. It took me a few weeks. Once a few weeks had passed and I'd calmed down, my emotions had self-regulated, I was able to start accepting that I am officially on the autism spectrum. I then slowly started to research autism on the internet to find out more information about girls and women on the autism spectrum. And shock to me, I couldn't find anything about autism or women or girls at the time. So then I slowly at the time began to talk to my autism social worker about doing a vlog online to share my experiences. At first I didn't really know what to do or what to expect, and of course some negative things happened to me, but mostly positive ones, such as being able to be my local newspaper about my autism story and my diagnosis, and then the opportunities to appear on national BBC radio to share my thoughts as well as my poetry, to be able to communicate with politicians such as the former MP for the Conservative Party, Ben Gummer, the former MP for Ipswich, and now I'm doing current work with the MP Tom Hunt, who's also a Conservative for Ipswich. Looking back over the years, I think I've learned a lot about who I am as a person and how I found my place in the world. 9 years on, I've moved out from living with my parents into total independent housing. At first, I wasn't sure how I was going to cope or adapt to this. At first, I was very unsure and anxious about how to adjust myself and put the strategies into place to lower my anxiety to the fact that the reality was about to hit. I was about to live on my own for the very first time. This taught me how to function in society like anybody else. Yes, I may have a communication disorder or communication issues that I struggle with, and yes, and that's okay. Part through this journey has had its ups and downs like a roller coaster, every journey does, including the unfortunate deaths in my family. I've had to learn how to grieve and how to cope and process what death means for me with regards to my autism and me personally. But during this time, I feel this made me even more stronger. I feel that I've been able to get to work with many people, including the hospital mental health team, to be able to share my story and my experiences. Also, slowly then leading on to social media for over 9 years has had its challenges and positives, for many people have told me that I've helped them with my experiences and my story, but it's also brought some negatives for me, including the bullying and harassment and teasing and name calling that I've had online. But at the same time, it's also been some positive sides to it. I love that over the 9 years I've slowly increased my confidence and see myself change and being able to communicate how my autism affects me on a daily basis. Over the last 9 years I've seen mega changes to how I react to people and situations around me and how to work in the team with my local autism service, who I've been volunteering with now for over 8 years. I've had many opportunities with them to train the local mental health professionals that have become my friends and become colleagues of mine within the learning disability service as well. I've also been able to train mental health personnel who have listened to me, valued me, respected my story and my experiences. Also during this time over the last 8 to 9 years, I've been in communication with the Ipswich Hospital Learning Disability and Autism Liaison Nurse Roger Blake at my local hospital. He has given me multiple opportunities to share my experiences as an autistic woman, an autistic adult, to train the hospital professionals who are qualified into their jobs, and helps to support me and value me and understand me for the way that I communicate and my environments around me. My family have also tried to understand my behaviour and the way that I am as an autistic woman. Yeah, sure, it's been difficult for them, don't get me wrong. It's been difficult for me too. The fact of being neurodiverse and disabled and legally registered as disabled, I understand why I'm different. My journey is an ongoing learning process for me and my autism. So I want to kind of briefly share a little bit of knowledge with you. I think over the last 9 years, I've had my ups and downs. Yes. Have I done wrong? Yeah, I have. I'm on an ongoing process with my autism. I think I've learned to adapt to every situation I've put myself in. I've learned how to effectively communicate better. Yes, my eye contact needs more issues and more practice. I get that, but I've learned to communicate more frequently. I've learned to turn take. I've learned to listen to people. I've learnt to do videos without fidgeting as much, and I think during the 9 years I've learnt to make more friends. I've learnt to listen to other people's stories and hopefully gain some experience from what they've shared with me. And I'm proud of being a neurodiverse adult. I'm proud of being an autistic adult. It's changed my life. It's changed my aspect on how I look at life, how I look at other people, and how I've dealt with situations. Yes, I'm not perfect. No, I'm not. Hands up, I'm not perfect at all. But I've learned to see who I am in the world. I've learned to belong in a world that doesn't really accept me. I've learned to stand on my own 2 feet. I've learned to identify as someone who is proud to be disabled, who is proud to be an autistic adult, someone who has been through her ups and downs with death and grief, and then with being in hospital unwell, having carpal tunnel surgery, things like that. I've had to deal with a lot of physical health issues, and I think through this 9 years I've seen where my weak spots are, and I've identified that. At the same time, I've identified my strong points, being able to train people, speak to people, communicate with people from all different backgrounds, nationalities, different jobs, different areas of the NHS, police. I've learned to adapt myself to each person specifically, and I think it's going to be an ongoing thing with me. But I think over the last 9 years, you've seen me being from the intimidated woman, the shy, kind of withheld woman, to then also now this strong woman who advocates for herself, advocates for other people, and shares my story of what it's like to be an autistic woman. And I think that I've coped fairly well, considering that I'm made to be more social now. I'm able to go out more into pubs and clubs and restaurants, and go out with my best friend and do things with my dad and my sister and other people, and support myself. Like I said, I live independently. I don't have no professional support. I'm very much here on my own in my own apartment. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing my story, my experiences. Please let me know down in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.